Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down to bite-sized pieces. Today, we've got some pretty fascinating things to go over and a lot of information to go over. First up, we're going to take a look at David Kelly, JP Morgan's chief global strategist, where he's going to talk about what's happening with the economy in the traditional sense. I like to look at what's happening in the traditional markets because we are not in our own little bubble of cryptocurrency and digital assets. We are actually in a much more global market, and we are interchangeable and interconnecting, so we have to take a look at what's going on in all the spaces around us. Also, Goldman Sachs had a call today, and surprise, surprise, it was not good for Bitcoin. And in more proof of mass adoption, 13 billion custodian launches retirement account supporting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And this to me is just a fascinating story about how things are moving from the traditional sense to our space, cryptocurrency digital assets, and how it can help everyone. And finally, Theta confirms Google partnership amid mainnet 2.0 rollout. And I got to tell you, from what I've read in the comment section, some of you are not really interested in Theta, and some of you actually are. And I can just tell you right now that when we go over this, I don't see how you cannot take a hard look at Theta. But before we start, let's take a look at CoinGecko and take a look at what's happening in the market today. So Bitcoin is above 9,000. Fantastic news. It's at 9,101. We'll take that. Ethereum's above 200. I like to see those numbers. Tether in the new number 3 spot. They've been there for 3 or 4 days now. XRP falling to 4 at a whopping 19 cents. Wow. Bitcoin Cash 230. Bitcoin SV 184. Litecoin, everything else. Tezos 269. So everything's down just a little bit in the last hour. Last 24 hours been pretty much of a green, and then 7-day we just seen some negative type of action. So that's what's happening with the market. But I can tell you, after we go over these stories, I want you to think about that right now things aren't that great. But as time moves on, I don't see how things cannot be bright. So let's break into today's first story. So first up, this is David Kelly. He's JP Morgan's chief global strategist. And like I said in the intro, I believe we should take a look at what's going on with everything around us because everything is connected in some way, shape, or form. And I like to hear what people who are in this space in the traditional markets have to say about what's going on. Now, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the traditional markets real quick and how it all comes together. So let's take a listen to what David Kelly thinks is going to happen in the next 3, 6, and maybe even 12 months.
Let's start off with the broader, profit picture that we've seen for corporates here. The idea here that a lot of the rally that we have isn't so much based on current fundamentals, but on the potential for a recovery. We had a pretty dismal Q1 with regards to earnings. 2Q is expected to be even worse. What does that tell you about the potential for a recovery in corporate profitability as we get into 3Q and beyond?
Well, eventually we will see a recovery, but to be honest, I think the analysts are still way too optimistic about corporate profits for the second quarter and the third quarter of this year. We are going to see a big slump in GDP and in profits in the second quarter, and we're going to see a significant bump in the third quarter. But remember, profits are more cyclical than the economy overall, and this is a huge economic slide here. So I think profits will be very badly hurt in the second quarter and in the third quarter. I think by 2022 we might exceed where we were in 2019, and that's something. But I do think we're in for a much...
Did you hear what he said there? In 2022, we're going to be ahead of where we are in 2019. And 2019 was a fantastic year. So I see it in the short term. And the short term could be what I believe is 6 months to a year. Very choppy, very ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And I see some negative times ahead. However, I see everything as the future being very bright, especially in cryptocurrency digital assets. But then David here is going to talk about what's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months.
A much deeper profit slide than investors are expecting right now. That does make the stock market somewhat vulnerable.
Okay, so second quarter earnings start coming out around July. Is that when we'll start to see equity markets perhaps realign with fundamentals?
That could be part of the story. I think a much more important story, though, is the progress of the coronavirus and just figuring out what sectors can reopen and what sectors can't reopen. Because I think there are a lot of indicators of things improving. Yes, I mean, things like the traffic going through airports is improving, but it's still down about 85% from normal. It's not normal. Hotels aren't normal. So the large chunks of the American economy which won't come back, I think investors are just going to digest that, figure out, yes, we're going to get a bump in the third quarter, but then it's going to be a crawl until we get a vaccine distributed. And I think we have to factor that in yet. So I think, yes, the earnings are going to make a difference, but I think also the recognition that it's going to be a slow recovery until we have that vaccine. I think that's going to be important.
And that's just it. And I can totally agree. And did you hear what he said there? He said, yeah, he goes, there's some more traffic in airports, there's some more, there's a little increase in certain sectors, but, we're down 85, 90%. I think that's what people have to really take into consideration. If you have an increase of 10%, week over week, and you're like, oh, that's fantastic, we're really returning. Well, yeah, but you're down 85, 90%. It's not a good day. It's not a good week. You're still majorly down overall. And I think that's what people have to actually take into consideration. So when I hear about these stories, I think to myself, okay, well, what's going on, outside that as well? And we can take a look at the unemployment rates, and we're looking at, 25%, 26%, or in this article, 22.8%. And that's the real unemployment rate, which includes people who are not looking for work or are underemployed. These are people who are out of the job, and that their jobs may or may not be waiting for them after everything settles, after the dust settles. These small businesses, such as myself, we took a huge hit when everything happened. Now, the Fed is printing money and everything's great in that aspect, but where is that money really going to? I can tell you where it's going to. It's going to big, huge corporations, because I myself just got my stimulus package, and which was amazing. I didn't think I was going to get it at all, but here we are. So it's going to take a long time. And for other businesses who were expecting that money a month ago, well, they're not doing so hot. So we will see what happens. And then, this is from Steve Mnuchin. He acknowledges the jobs rate maybe even higher and stands at 25%. And the reported numbers are probably going to get worse before they get better. And that is from Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary. So if we're looking at that, that is not fantastic news. However, let's take a look at what's happening in the world, because so we have these economic indicators. We see what's going on. So this is Main Street versus Wall Street. So what's going on Wall Street? Well, the S&P broke 3,000, and that wasn't supposed to happen. But here we are. Everybody's optimistic. No big deal. Like the gentleman said, David Kelly. He's like, yeah, people are optimistic because they hear, oh, we're up 15%, but we're down. We're down 80%. S&P here's the stock market here's any good news. They're like, let's just go in, and then boom, 3,000, no big deal. And then the Dow itself, they're up as well, 25,000, 548. And then we take a look at a more common indicator, Russell 2000 index, and they're up as well. So it seems like up is down, left is right. It doesn't really matter. The market just keeps going up because the Fed is in the background just throwing money, and that's it. So here's my question to you. Do you believe that all these factors that we have that are the underlying symptoms, do you think that it really is going to produce some type of huge infection in the economy? Or do you think that all these things that we hear about that are lying underneath are no big deal, and we'll have a little bumpy road, but we'll get out of it, and no big worries about what's going on behind the curtain? So let me know what you think in the comment section. So let's break into some actual good news of cryptocurrency digital assets, what we're all here for. So first up, Bitcoin is not an asset class, states Goldman Sachs. And we actually talked about this a couple of days ago. There was a video we did where I talked about Bitcoin mining, which is going on in the western part of Texas where I'm at, and how this company, One Layer, they are actually going to get electricity for less than a penny. And they're going to dominate, I believe, Bitcoin mining. So we talked about that. We also talked about this little story called Goldman Sachs is inviting clients to a Bitcoin call. Here's why that's so important. And in the very first part, it talks about how bullish it was. And I saw a lot of different YouTubers or, YouTube videos just talk about how great this was and this is fantastic. And I was like, I don't see it. I do not see it. From when it first started, I was like, this is what I thought. They're going to call people in like, hey, let's talk about gold. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about your investments. Gold is awesome. Mutual funds are awesome. Bitcoin sucks. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And that is exactly what happened. So This was a call that happened today, and according to a tweet posted by Digital Currency Group CEO Barry Seibert, he is also the CEO of Grayscale, who participated in the Goldman Sachs recent client call. One of the largest American banks doesn't recognize Bitcoin as a standalone asset class. Shocker. This also applies to other cryptocurrencies. In one of the slides, Goldman Sachs explains that crypto is unable to generate positive cash flow like bonds, does not dampen volatility, and does not provide diversification. So this is from an actual slide, and it says, this is from Goldman Sachs, says, look, Bitcoin does not generate cash flow like bonds, doesn't generate any earnings, does not provide consistent diversification benefits, given their unstable correlations, does not dampen volatility, given historical volatility of 76%. On March 12th, the price of Bitcoin fell 37% in one day. Don't tell anybody. Does not show evidence of hedging inflation. And then we believe security whose appreciation is probably dependent on whether someone else is willing to pay a higher price, for it is not a suitable investment for our clients. And we also believe that while hedge funds may find trading cryptocurrencies appealing because they're high volatility, that allure does not constitute a viable investment rationale. And to me, I'll be honest, I was not blown away. I was expecting actually to be much worse, so that wasn't too bad. But it's fascinating. But this is the thing. What has Bitcoin done year to date? And this is really the slide they should have really shown these slides. So if you're going to look at Bitcoin year to date, hey, it's up 26%. That's not too bad. Now, if we take a look back, 2020, this was actually a couple weeks ago, about a week ago or so, and it was up 39%. If you look at 2019, it was up 92%. The NASDAQ hit a whopping 35, S&P 28. And this was, remember, 2019 was a stellar year for traditional markets. And Bitcoin still put a shellacking on all of them. Russell 2000, gold, topics, credit, oil. I mean, you name it. I mean, it beat it. And then if you want to take a look back even further and take a look back all the way to 2011, we had 2 bad years out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of a decade. And they are fantastic returns all the way overall. So here's the thing that I try to get to everybody, and I think it's why you watch these videos. You watch them because you want to hear about what's going on, in the cryptocurrency digital asset world, and you may watch for a bunch of different factors, but I think that's one of the reasons. And the second reason is I think you want to get information about what to tell your family and friends, or more information. I mean, you already know enough, but what to tell them when they're asking you, hey, what's up with Bitcoin? What's up with Ethereum? If they even say Ethereum, or what's up with XRP and Cardano, this thing called Theta. You can just direct them and go, look, year over year, this asset class, and it is a new asset class, it has beaten everything out there. S&P 500, it's beaten oil, it's beaten stocks, bonds. I mean, you name it, it's done really well. Now there's some volatility, but if you could, maybe think about allocating 2 to 8% of your fund. Well, let's say 2 to 5%, because it's, just to be very conservative, I think that would be pretty good for you. That would be something that I would feel comfortable with telling my own mother. So that's how I see it. Now, unfortunately, JP Morgan is not going to say that to their clients, and people thought they would, but I was like, not a chance. Anyhow, let's finish up this article. So, apart from denying that Bitcoin is a separate asset class, Goldman Sachs, also called, not JP Morgan, also called attention to its illicit use cases such as Ponzi schemes, ransomware, money laundering, and dark net markets. And that sounds very scary. But you know what is primarily used in Ponzi schemes and money laundering? It's the US dollar. And that has also gone to fund cartels, and also every other illicit type of activity is the US dollar. So before cryptocurrency, what was there? US dollar. And that's still being used heavily throughout all these different things. And, as far as banks go, I mean, they really should know, because they've been involved in scandals themselves. I mean, nobody is immune and nobody is perfect. So, Goldman Sachs, $2 billion settlement over one MDB scandal. And I'll link in the description. You take a look at that. And then you have other banks like JP Morgan. They also were involved in money laundering for the Swiss regulation. Also, $30 billion in fines and counting for other scandals that they were a part of. And you take a look at other banks, Wells Fargo account fraud scandal, where they open up all those different accounts without people knowing it. And you have little places like Bank of America, $16.6 billion in historic Justice Department, financial fraud. So when we talk about these types of places and they're trying to be, holier than thou, and Bitcoin is no good, and they have to remember, don't throw stones in glass houses. That's really what it comes down to. And that's it. So I read in the comments section, it was a pretty good point. They said, even if Goldman Sachs says, how awful Bitcoin is, it will give people the opportunity to hear the word Bitcoin being uttered by Goldman Sachs and them saying to themselves, you know what, maybe I should take a deeper look into that. Now, not all people will do that, but it was a good point, and hopefully people will go out there and search for that information, and hopefully now you will have more information that you can use to educate people and the masses. All right, let's move on. Next up, I thought this was a pretty great article about mass adoption and moving into retirement funds, which is where I think this is a natural progression for cryptocurrency digital assets to go to. So Kingdom Trust, a South Dakota-based financial custodian that manages more than $13 billion in assets, has launched a retirement account that supports legacy, alternative, and crypto assets. Kingdom Trust already backs more than, and check this out, 100,000 retirement accounts and custodies over 20,000 assets, including Bitcoin. That's pretty cool. That's pretty amazing that you have somebody who looks over all these accounts and it has the foresight to go, you know what, we're taking a look at this new asset class, and golly, its 2019 returns were fantastic. And if you take a look over the last 10 years, just huge returns. I think we can allow, our clients who are very smart to allocate into Bitcoin. It makes sense to me. Anyhow, CoinShares founder and Kingdom Trust CEO Ryan Radloff estimates that there are 7.1 million Bitcoin holders in the US, and he states, by our estimates, there are 7 million Americans who own Bitcoin, have a retirement account, but currently don't have the option to hold Bitcoin in their retirement account with their other assets, said Radloff. That, of course, is great for tax purposes. What we're doing is we're now opening up the ability to not just trade Bitcoin, but you can do digital assets or legacy assets like your stocks and bonds from one retirement account. He also states that the choice product was motivated by a desire to give people the option of investing their retirement accounts into alternative and crypto assets, allowing people to get out of the Fed's rat trap. And this was important. I thought this was pretty great the way that he put it. When the IRS decided to tax Bitcoin, consequently, it enabled Bitcoin to be held by IRS and other qualified custodians that are regulated by the IRS and their state divisions. It directly enabled Bitcoin to be held by qualified custodians and in retirement accounts. Most of the Bitcoin community doesn't even know they can hold Bitcoin in the retirement account yet. And these last two paragraphs really get to the whole crux of the situation, because what we just saw with Goldman Sachs and the kind of nonsense and baloney that they just pulled really is summed up perfectly by Radloff. He says right now, most of these American retirement accounts are sitting at some bank that is telling them that Bitcoin is too risky, while at the same time forcing them to only own stocks or mutual funds and ramming a false narrative down their throat that Bitcoin is too risky and they shouldn't even look at it. That's not right. That's not right. He says, I'm mad as hell about that. And so we're going to do something where you can have the choice to own Bitcoin or stocks and bonds from one account for the first time, so that we're not just dictated by these banks to stay in the trap. And I, for one, applaud them to take that huge step out and actually offering it to them. And I can tell you right now, there are more and more companies offering these types of accounts, especially also with IRA. And me, myself, I was contacted about a month ago, and I'm investing in an IRA account, and it's through iTrust Capital. Now, I will just tell you right now, I am only doing it to check it out. I think it's a pretty good thing they're doing. The rates are very low. I have no affiliate links to give you. I have really no information to give you because I haven't tested it out. And what I really want to do was kind of get into it and then tell everybody about it. But I thought this was a perfect article to lead me over to what's going on. So again, you can check it out. It's called iTrust Capital. Like I said, I have no affiliate links or nothing with them. I just wanted to see, how it was, how good it was, or how bad it was. And I try to vet things out before I talk about it, but that's it. So now I can really say, do your own research on this one, because I haven't done my due diligence right now as far as, how it all goes. I've only seen good things. I've only read the different terms and conditions, and it looks solid. So I'm going to go into it. Anyhow, do your own research. Let's move on to our last story. Theta confirms Google partnership among mainnet 2.0 rollout. And I got to tell you, this is huge. There are some people in the comment section that are so dogmatic about their project, and they love it so much that anytime we hear about a partnership, I think we're all jaded. Don't you think we're jaded in some way? Like we hear about a partnership, we're like, nah, BS. That's just some Reddit poster posting this and nonsense and people pumping it up and it's not real. So I get it. So like when we say these things, people are like, whatever. I've been around for a long enough time. But here we are. And we're going to get into not only Google, but YouTube in a second. So esports and crypto conference streaming app Theta has confirmed its rumored partnership with Google, announcing Google Cloud as an enterprise validator and launch partner for Theta Mainnet 2.0. The enterprise validator program also includes Binance, Japanese partner firm Gumi Cryptos, and venture capital fund Blockchain Ventures. Enterprise validators verify transactions across the Theta networks. That's pretty cool. I mean, they have all these big names becoming validators. So I think they see the writing on the wall. And we're going to get into why it's so great. So the announcement coincides with Theta's Mainnet 2.0 rollout, which is also scheduled for May 27th, which is today. Today is May 27th. It is, gosh, what time is it? 4:15 Texas time. So yeah, I think the mainnet should already be set in stone. So with all this great news, I'm always thinking to myself, okay, what's the price? So it should be awesome, right? Well, right now, Theta's down 15%. And that's just how it is, because usually what happens, if you're new to cryptocurrency digital assets, when a mainnet launches, usually people build up, and then at the point that it launches, people just sell like crazy. So, and they're just, in it for the money. They may not believe in the project. They don't really see it, and they're traders, and they like to get out, and that's fine. I mean, that's what it is. Now, I'm a dollar cost averager. I'm very boring. I just put my money in, and that's it. I have an exit strategy when each one of my prospects or my portfolio reaches a certain number, then I sell off at a percentage. If you haven't seen my video where it talks about exit strategies, I will link it at the very end. But for Theta, it's fallen, which is not surprising, and that's what's going on. Now, CoinGecko, I got to tell you, one thing I like about CoinGecko, first of all, is that it's not CoinMarketCap, which is owned by Binance, and it's I don't really care about Binance, but they've done some funny things in the past. Anyhow, it'll tell you, there's some type of indicators that it'll talk about. They give you 1 hour all the way to 1 year. They talk about the ROI, market cap dominance. I like that part, market cap dominance. So you see what's going on with everything. Rank, which is a lot of different places do that. Ultimate low. And then as you scroll down, you can even take a look. If you're a trader, you can look through Trading View, and you can pull up some types of indicators. So like here, I don't really know many, but I can do the RSI, Relative Strength Index, and it'll give you these types of things. Like so there. It can give you a moving average, oscillators, all those different things. So if you're a trader, hey, great, here's all your stuff. And then going down, you can see what exchange it's on. Fortunately, it's on Binance, because I can't get into Binance. Even though I'm in America, I am unfortunately been pegged by Binance to be in Texas, which is true, and I can't use Binance. That's a bummer. And Bitthumb and Upbit. So if you're looking for like, where are all these coins? Where can I buy them? Well, now you know. And then also what's pretty cool down here is they just have a technical analysis or a TA type of indicators, and it'll tell you like what's going on. Sell or buy or strong buy or whatever else. And you can go by 15 minutes, 5 minutes. I think you can go like, 1 week. Yeah, 1 week. See, if you just would have seen this, strong buy, of course. And then off you go. So not that it's perfect all the time. I'm sure it sucks at some point, but it's just a good thing if you're a trader to do that, and off you go. And then of course it has, which is pretty neat here, where'd it go? Up here, it'll give you the actual website and whatever else. So I mean, that's pretty cool, because I mean, look, a lot of places do that, a lot of different things, but there's just certain things that I like on CoinGecko. That's why I use it all the time. So let's finish up this article. So lastly, it states, Theta's Mainnet 2.0 launch follows a spate of high-profile partnerships over recent weeks, including a deal with Samsung to launch the Theta app across 75 million Android smartphones worldwide. I saw this, I'm like, geez, I mean, this Theta is dominating, right? They have a Google partnership, which is essential with YouTube. I mean, Google and YouTube are hand in hand. Binance here, Gumi Cryptos. There's a lot of things going on with this. So what the heck is Theta? So what's great about CoinGecko is you just go, there's the website, and it'll just take you to the website. Fantastic. And Theta, so it has like a little overview video here, and it looks like it's already gone through the mainnet. And it looks like you can do a node program. Fantastic. And it just talks about, here's all our partners, here's what's going on. And it's all about gaming and streaming and making it very usable and cheaper. And this is Steve Chen. He's the co-founder of YouTube. And he states that his innovation is set to disrupt today's online video industry, much in the same way that the YouTube platform did to traditional video back in 2005. One of our biggest challenges has been the high cost of delivering video to various parts of the world, and this problem is only getting bigger with HD, 4K, and higher quality video streams, said Steve Chen, co-founder of YouTube. I'm excited to be part of the next evolution of the streaming space, helping Theta create a decentralized, peer-to-peer network that can offer improved video delivery at lower cost. So here's the thing about business. If you can give somebody a better product at a lower cost, you would be insane not to do that thing. And Steve Chen, I'm assuming, is a pretty smart guy, or at least has some foresight to go through the YouTube process, create that with other people, of course, and then also take a look at this and go, you know what, Theta, I like that. And here we are. So if you haven't taken a look at Theta, I am not getting any compensation. I just think it's a pretty great, looks like a pretty good project. And I think it looks awesome. Now, the future looks bright for crypto and digital assets all over. I truly believe that. I think we're in for, like, again, we're in for some tough times. I think I'm going to set aside some money on the sidelines because I see dips coming. I just do. But, 2-3 years out, I mean, we are at the very beginning stage, and this is exciting times. We just have to get over this hump. And that's it. And that's it for today's video. So thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. Lastly, I'd like to say thanks to all my supporters. If you don't know, underneath there's a little join button. When you click join, I mean, you don't really get anything special. Like, there's nothing like I hold anything back. Like, there's something for members and something for non-members. You get these cool little like badges when we do the live streams, which we do at least 3 times a week at least. And that's pretty nice, but it's more like a tip. I always see it like a tip. Like, if you want to say, hey, it was a good video, then, throw in a couple bucks. Sure, I'm appreciative of whatever anybody can do. And if you don't want to, no big deal. It's not like you have to do anything, right? Just like a tip. And then, so level 1, I appreciate everybody. And the level 2 pays a little more, and I give them a shout out. So I want to give a shout out to All Right Soft, who holds it down on all the live streams. I appreciate it. Him and Wen Mullet are my guys. Myself, who else? Dave Plummer, the straight talking guy. Check out his YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube, pretty interesting. Grant Sharman. We've also got Bruce Wood, Baking Benjamins, who they are bakers in the Tezos community. So if you're looking to partner up with somebody who does everything with Tezos, then Baking Benjamins, check them out. Noel Flippin Vegas, Martin Lewin, Michael Ralph, William Powell, Chris Alexander, Tessie, Ryusaki, Positive, great name, Fire Swing Golf, and to our 3 new ones, JC Durex Code, E, Crypto Veritas, and John Miller. So, hey, thanks everybody. I really appreciate it. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to put a cap on level 2. I think this might be it for a while. We'll see what happens. But hey, thanks to everybody. Really appreciate it. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you on the next one.